and please introduce yourself before asking question. Now the discussion is open on the topic SIP.
Sir, so right now, the data that we received, it was through which committee? SLBC, it was through the SLBC data. So the data there does not specifically mention that this is a Udham registered MSME. It was 52,000 MSMEs that have taken loan, and the total loan amount was 1880 crores with 3.6 lakh per MSME. It did not specifically mention that, but however, if Udham registration was a mandatory, compliances, then we are basically saying that those MSMEs are Udham. The 52,000 MSMEs that have taken the loan are Udham registered MSMEs. However, that needs to be cross-checked once. If Udham registration is a mandatory compliance, for example, when they go to SBI Bank Imphal, the Imphal branch, let's say if it is a mandatory requirement, which usually is, then in that case, definitely. Okay, so for that we have proposed two different things. One is MSME Udhyam Drive. I'll explain what it is in detail. And number two is through the CSCs, the Common Service Centers. So we have Common Service Centers in Manipur, right? So the idea is to incentivize those Common Service Centers. So let's say a Common Service Center is achieving a certain number. So what we are basically saying is that all 16 districts, district-wise, whichever Common Service Center has the highest number of Udhyam registrations done in a year, will under the program will be giving them a financial reward of 1 lakh per CSC, per Common Service Center, for whichever has the highest number they achieve. Again, when we say highest number, right, there could be CSCs that are not as well trained. So the team that is there will be having these training programs where we'll invite all the CSCs, we'll provide a proper training manual and a training program on how to register under Udhyam for the MSME, right? And then they'll be given targets. Okay, you go on, you do your registrations. Whoever has the highest in a district in a year, in terms of the report you submit, will be given this financial reward. That is one. Second is through MSME Udhyam drives. So the program, what the program will do is it will be conducting these drives. We have done that during the SIP phase also at 2 to 3 locations, right? Where we will be inviting MSMEs. Both, when we say MSME, we are talking about all kind of MSME, does not have to be Udhyam registered or not. In fact, the larger non-Udhyam registration is better for us, because along with the whole program on what is Udhyam and how to register, we will also have stalls for Udhyam registration on spot. Right, so those processes will be initiated, and then the team that is there will also play this larger role, the documentation of the entire process and follow-ups to ensure that. So we are targeting about, in terms of what our targets are, we are targeting about 80,000 MSMEs over the course of next 3 years on Udhyam registration. And if we go with, let's say, 75,000 right now and 75,000 that we are targeting, we are talking about around 1.5 lakh MSMEs with Udhyam registration. Again, this is for the next 3 years. If there is further extension for this, intervention, we could target a larger number. So, because budget becomes a major constraint in those cases. No. So, within the project only, if you look at RAMP manual, you see that there is a fixed budget for RAMP, and RAMP is pan India, every single state, every single union territory, everything, right? So there are specific budgets that will be allocated. Same like Unnati, there are specific budgets that will be allocated per state. For us, as I mentioned, we have submitted the proposal. Right now, when we submit the proposal, there are multiple rounds of meeting that happens. Even there, what finances have you proposed becomes a major. In fact, that is the most important point of discussion. So when I am talking about incentivizing every single, time an MSME is registered under Udyam, the finances of it could be higher than whatever we have proposed right now, because we have certain budgets that we have to work in, and then there are also some ramp guidelines in terms of, okay, for this activity this is the amount that you can use. Okay, so we have to basically take care of those also when we propose our interventions. So those are the major ideas, sir. But overall, the target is that Udyam registration, we're targeting, let's say, 75,000, and if we have 75,000 right now, around 1.5 lakh MSMEs at the end of this project over the course of 3 years. And everything that you see in terms of support, whether it's the export promotion self-providing support, or the facilitation self-providing support, or transportation subsidy related support, or interest subvention related support, all of this under this RAM program will be provided to MSMEs with Udyam registration. So if somebody wants to participate, right, first, step one, get your Udyam done, and then you participate in everything else, including these expo visits. If you are coming to the program and saying, I want to participate in expo visit, you have to have an Udyam registration. So that is how we are basically, incentivizing everything.
Awareness, no? So how are you going to make people aware about all these MSME schemes and bank schemes related to MSME? Is there any program?
So, two things. Stage one, stage two. Stage one was basically doing the survey, finding the gaps, proposing the intervention, submitting it to the ministry. Stage two, on approval, is implementation. For implementation, multiple stakeholders will be involved. The stakeholders includes us, Grant Thornton, MANIDCO, Industries Department, all the DICs, right? And then whatever employees are available at block level, because we have 70 blocks, whatever is available at block level, right? And we also will be onboarding implementing partners, right? These implementing partners will also play a role here. So when we talk awareness programs, there are budget given, 70,000 per program. This is the budget by Ministry of MSME. So at block level, we'll be conducting these programs. It could be through the implementing partner. For example, let's say if you have an industry association, the industry association could be an implementing partner which says, I will do this in my block, right? I will get this done, I'll achieve these targets. Let that fund be routed through me, which could be then done through the DIC to the industry association. This is how we are targeting. So we'll have implementing partners at block level, 70,000 per awareness program, and we'll be conducting a lot of programs in all 70 districts.
That's good.
Thank you, sir.
All the, whatever you have proposed, na, it's very good. Like if it is successful, it's very good, and it will help. So what we have pointed out is from the registration part of Udyam. So we have to improve, in the 70,000 thing, we can also include that Udyam registration.
Yes, definitely. That is the whole goal. The goal is for an MSME to be compliant through the RAMP initiative. So we are talking about Udyam, but at a later stage, for example, when we are going for transportation related support under the RAMP program, or you are going for export related support, GST will also be required, right? So we are talking about compliances, Udyam registration, GST, all this being done simultaneously over the course of the next 3 years to make MSMEs in Manipur compliant. And then because when you have this, see, RAMP is one scheme. All of us know and understand that there are a lot of schemes by the central government and also by the state government to support MSMEs and the overall industrial sector. When an MSME becomes compliant, it could be through RAMP by Udyam and GST. But when they become compliant, they can also avail the services of other schemes. Nobody is stopping. There is no guideline in RAMP which says if you're taking any support under RAMP, you cannot take under Unnati or you cannot take under any other government scheme. So why not?
Regarding this awareness program, I would like to emphasize about what is GST, then what is ITR, because we MSMEs at Manipur are not able to avail big amount of whatever support or loans because of lack of this GST and ITRs. So this also suggested to include this as a measure.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. That's in the agenda. It was discussed a lot during the Unnati meeting as well. Because we are also, I'm working with MSMEs, about 3,000 MSMEs in Assam. And one of the challenges that we face while working with them is compliances as per the Companies Act of India. Right? So GST has to be filed every quarter. 4 times. So people, when they think, if they have a GST license registration, they think because I have no income, I don't have to file GST. But because you have a GST, you have to file nil returns, right? So, and then they become non-compliant. There are fines. Kamaya kuch nahi hai, but fine hai, right? Same with ITR. Same with the AGM, annual general body meeting. How many does AGM, on time every year? So all these things, these are part, even bookkeeping. Like we haven't talked about bookkeeping, but cash book, sales register, purchase register, stock register. How many MSMEs maintain it, and how well do they maintain it? When they go to Unnati, they'll be asked, show us your details, show us your sales, show us your cash register. What do they have? So all this will definitely be part of the larger awareness and training program that we are proposing. So we have about 70,000 per program for awareness and 1,25,000 per program for trainings. So that will be covered across 70 blocks. Thank you, sir. Any other question? Sir.
Hello. My name is Ailan. I actually run an IT firm, so it can also be considered like MSME, but we sometimes fall in a different kind of a compartment. Okay. Thanks for that wonderful presentation that you have. But I wanted to share some of my perspective on what's happening in Manipur, staying in Manipur, doing business in Manipur, right? So first thing that I wanted to one perspective that I had after seeing your slide was that many of the things I feel like we are kind of solving the symptoms, right? We are not actually solving the real issue, what is happening here, right? Because all the symptoms, all the data that you collect about only a few number of MSME getting registered is also the symptoms, right? That symptoms comes from the confidence building that we have. So we have to build a confidence building kind of a thing. It's just not awareness, but a confidence building that someone can approach the government officers and get work done. Because that confidence is completely lacking. If you ask any MSME, they will think that, okay, I will not go there because there's a whole system of bribery and money and all those things, so better not go there, right? So that confidence building is something that you have to do that besides the awareness, right? So awareness is one thing. Awareness is just like one way, right? But confidence building takes time. You have to build that confidence, otherwise people will not come. That's the first thing that I want to emphasize. The second thing is also make the government accountable for things that is being implemented here. So definitely I would like to see some KPIs, and those KPIs should be tracked by the MSME organizations. So the government should be answerable about what KPIs have been fulfilled in the last quarter. All those numbers has to be tracked through the MSME organizations, right? Because that 360 feedback is completely missing in Manipur. That has to happen. Without that, whatever you guys are proposing, even though it's good in paper, nothing will happen. Then that's the second thing that I have. The third thing that I have is all the things that we fix is mostly because of the inflation we have in Manipur, because inflation is very, very high, right? If you go to the vegetable market, I'm not sure whether you have bought any vegetables. I buy on a daily basis, it's very, very costly, right? So you cannot get any vegetables below, let's say, 200 rupees, right? So minimum when you go out to a vegetable market, you have to spend 200 rupees. That's the minimum they have to spend, right? How do you support that kind of a cost, high cost of living is something that is burdening everyone, and that creates a strain on the money cycle flow, right? People borrow money just to keep surviving, and that keeps on increasing, and then there's a underground, this is not the thing that I'm saying, there is a economy, right? Where it actually is running on borrowed money. Because people borrow just to kind of survive, right? So they pay like 3% per month, that's very high, right? So a lot of people pay 3%, 5%. This is like completely under the shadows. This is something that doesn't even, it's just acknowledged, but it doesn't kind of come into the paper, right? So everyone is in debt that way. Okay? And one thing that I would kind of, from kind of my perspective, is that if you fix a train, the railway that is coming into Manipur, we have just like another 40 kilometers of train segment that has to be completed. I don't know when it's going to complete. It was supposed to be completed in 2023, 24, again it's saying 25, right? If you fix that, most of the inflation problem will also go, because your cost of production will drastically decrease. And it will also help us, once your cost of production decreases, then you can start exporting. We cannot export with this kind of 9.4% inflation, right? You kind of
pay so many taxes on the way, and then so many taxes to come in, so many taxes to go out, right? Then how are you going to export? That is not possible, right? So even if you do all these activities, I don't think it will be successful unless you fix this problem, right? And the first thing that the government should, let's forget about the road and highways, right? Fix the train, because it's already about to finish, but it has been delayed for the last 2 to 3 years. I don't know when, but if the government is very sincere about that, they can push it, finish it within 5 to 6 months. Right now. And then all these things that we're trying to fix will go by itself, right? We don't have to put so much effort on that. Okay? And on